Yeah, right.
Okay, let's call the roll call. Call to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Here.
Commissioner Stackman?
Aye.
Commissioner Bruner is absent. Commissioner Mano is not here.
Right.
I move for the Board of Commissioners to allow Commissioner Bruner to attend this meeting via telephone.
Second that.
Seconded.
Discussion, hearing none.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Stackman?
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Okay.
You got it. Do we have a direct line?
Why is this?
That line first.
Why is this not work? Hi, good evening, Georgie. Claudia. Good, thanks. I'm going to put you on speaker, and then you'll join our meeting. Okay, thanks. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Could you turn that up, please?
Yeah. Very good.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to teleconference this evening.
Oh,
Not a
sure.
problem.
Thanks for attending.
Thank you.
Public comment.
I have a few, if I may. Good evening, President Stackman and Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me this time to speak with you. Do you want me to move closer to George from here?
It's fine.
I am Maggie Zimmer, and I have a few questions, comments, and concerns I'd like to share with you tonight. I am also speaking on behalf of other Morton Grove Fitness members who may or may not be present this evening. Please explain how it has been decided what fitness classes get categorized as Group X and a specialty class. What concerns me and others is I pay the resident membership fee plus the Group X fee, and then there are the specialty classes that I have to pay more money if I want to participate in those. I like the TRX, the spin, and the TRX combo, the Bollywood dance, and the line dancing, but why do I need to pay an additional fee for these classes? Where is the value for members to continue here and for potential members when other facilities in the area provide a better value for the dollar spent? You are pushing members away instead of drawing in. They don't want to pay all this extra money. I have been a member since 1997, and I know some that have been members longer. We are deeply frustrated and to a degree angry when we feel that we are paying the same price for a membership fee as someone who just walks in today and signs up. I've had a few people suggest perhaps some type of loyalty incentive program or a membership retention program. For example, a member who has been here for 5 years receives a one-time free class or a certain percentage off of their membership fee. What you are currently doing is not working. This is evident by the number of people you are losing as members who are not renewing and people not signing up for new membership. The classes I sign up for are slowly being canceled because of lack of attendance. It's not that no one is interested in these classes, it's because you are putting an extra cost to participate. I alone know at least 5 people that have left MGPD and gone elsewhere. There is no question the competition is out there, but it is up to all of you to figure out what can be done to retain membership and produce new. I'm not telling you anything you have not heard before. The question is, how can you as a board retain the existing members to stay on board and to reach out to new? I can tell you what is not working. Charging extra for specialty classes, having a fitness center too hot to work out in, which has been ongoing, not enough fans in hit room and cycle room, equipment is filthy, dance room downstairs for yoga on Saturday mornings is too cold, and the floor upstairs for yoga is filthy. who wants to come to a facility that has all these problems. Dan, we spoke about the marketing person the last time that we saw you. How is that working out for MGPD? I have not seen this person in the fitness area taking photos or talking to members. I also have 3 letters from members that wanted me to read. To save time, I would prefer to pass out these letters to each of you and ask that it be placed in the minutes. I also had plenty of members that have other issues and complaints that I chose not to address with you this evening. Although these members are entitled to voice their opinion, I feel those issues need to be addressed by them directly. Please do not misconstrue these comments or ignore them. We are frustrated by only a Band-Aid placed on these evident problems. Your position is not an easy one, and I'm sure very challenging to say the least. We understand that the fitness center is only a fraction of your responsibility. I would like to suggest facilitating a fitness center meeting or meetings for all members with you, the board. Perhaps a few members would come up with some ideas to improve our experience in workout and to continue as an MGPD fitness member. Lastly, I thank you for the time you have allowed me to verbalize these concerns, and I would appreciate a response to all issues brought to your attention this evening. Thank you.
Can I have a copy of that? We can make a copy.
She can make copies of this, thank you.
That would make it very easy for
And do you
staff
want
to review
me,
all that.
President Stegman,
Please just give them all to Claudia, and she'll
Okay.
make copies, and she'll return the originals back to you.
Okay, I have made copies. There's 10 copies here of all the letters.
Okay, no problem.
I'll just put that right
And,
there.
she'll make copies of your letter and give it back to you.
Thank
And
you.
then I appreciate you coming here. I really appreciate the fact that you spell out and written down everything that your concerns are. It makes it so much easier than taking notes and trying to remember, you know. This is a committee meeting. We won't have time tonight to necessarily discuss any of this stuff, but Jeff?
Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you so much for putting it down on paper, and more importantly, for coming to express that there are some concerns out there. As much as we try to reach out to try to get information, and having this direct one-on-one, so to speak, is a great opportunity for us. I think the best thing for us to do is to, rather than answer little bits and pieces and not be able to answer some questions, is just really allow us the opportunity maybe to come back in March to come up with, here's why we do what we do, or here's the struggles that we've had with group exercise, or what this, opportunities for us. I like the idea of being able to meet with fitness members to express their concerns. So if it's at all possible, we have, it's March 1st for Committee of the Whole, and we can come back at that point and present something to you, if that's okay.
Jeff, first of all, can you tell the audience who you are and
Oh,
what
sure.
your position is here? Because I don't think,
Sure, my name's Jeff Wade. I'm the Executive Director.
thank you.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that, if,
Okay.
you want to dwell on the questions. But were you aware as a board of these situations?
Well, you've got a little bit of a list here as to, so some things I was aware of, some things we weren't. I wasn't aware of. I mean, the cleanliness, it's a multi-purpose facility, but that should be no excuse why something isn't clean. That's something that we can address. Sort of with, I don't want to make excuses, but we have been challenged with sort of not having a superintendent of parks in place, losing a custodian, nighttime custodian, trying to fill in with part-time individuals. We are going through the process at pretty much for the last month and a half, 2 months. Marty, correct me if I'm wrong, with Honeywell system, and trying to get everything situated and fixed, and making sure that they've done what they're supposed to do. That has been an ongoing process. So, some things I have been, some things I haven't been.
can I ask a question, Maggie?
Yes.
When did you address the board about this, about the same issues that you're talking about?
Well, this is the first time.
Oh, okay.
This is the first time.
Okay.
But the members have been talking amongst themselves for months. So I just finally decided, you know what, we need to talk to the board. This isn't a complaint session or anything, but you need to be aware of these things. You're losing membership, and I know you can see it in your numbers.
If I could just tag
yeah,
on, my name
well-
is Bernadette Fahey, and I'm a member with the Group X as well, and the fitness center. And I don't know if any of you use the fitness facilities here. It's really a nice, generally a nice fitness facility. I belong to LA Fitness across the street too, and just tagging on to what Maggie said, and I'm glad you're open to having another meeting in March, because when I saw the new prices, I just thought, well, I don't think I can come here anymore, not for the Group X. It's priced, I think, way too high for what the market bears here. For example, you can get a membership at LA Fitness for $250 a year. That includes the gym and all their classes. And even Skokie, you know, is an example. You can get a membership there for $358, and that includes the gym and all their classes. They have classes from 6 a.m. on. So, I mean, if we could have another meeting, because I would love to still be a member here, but I think the pricing definitely needs to get more in line. And even at one of the classes this week, one of the women said that between the Group X and the specialty classes, her husband pointed out that she spent well over $600 just in 1 year, and he said, and that's going to stop. He said, you can't do that anymore. We're trying to put a kid through college. So, you know, I think that's definitely something that needs to be addressed, because there is a lot of talk about that right now.
Yeah, another meeting is just another committee of the whole meeting, which is the first meeting of every month for the board. So we'll present something. We've talked about group exercise in the fall and the struggles that we've had with that we can include that into the report or presentation that we can give to the board, just where we're at.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Why can't we have just a special meeting just for fitness members? Instead of going to your actual March 1st meeting, why can't you just facilitate some kind, just for the members, the fitness members? Because I just have a feeling there more would come out to voice their concerns.
Sure, I picked the first meeting of the month just because that's the, for the board, that would be the soonest that we could, I think, that we could do something, that we could present something. If you want, we can hold a meeting in between now and say the March 15th, to have just with the fitness members, and then just hear their concerns, and then bring back something to the board afterwards.
And if you can include those fitness instructors, we're dying here.
I'm sorry, who are you?
I am the work instructor. I'm about to teach in about 20 minutes. My name's Michelle Richter. And ever since that membership changed, my classes were like 15, 20. We're now struggling to even get 5 people in our class.
And
Yeah, well, there is
These guys are like my family. I love every single one of you guys. And I'm hearing that you guys are crossing the street going to LA Fitness, and it's killing me. I'm one of those guys that emailed you a letter.
Well, I think it's best just to knock this all out in one meeting, rather than not picking on, but just addressing single issues that I know specifically of. We talked to the board in the fall. I think it was the fall, maybe it was the summer months, that we were losing a significant amount of money on the group exercise program. And we felt that it was unfair for the rest of the fitness center to subsidize that cost. So we, along with the fitness manager, the recreation superintendent at the time, came up with a plan that they thought was fair. So they did break it down into there's group exercise classes and there's specialty classes. The specialty classes tend to be the ones where you have limited number of people. You have to have specialized equipment, if I'm remembering correctly, and this is why I don't feel that this is really the venue to do this, because I don't want to say something incorrectly. But they separated that out and kind of and then developed a plan based on it. They looked at we're talking about economies of scale as well. We don't have a dedicated fitness just workout rooms like LA Fitness or Planet Fitness or Lifetime. None of that. We're a multi-purpose facility, which we have to look at fitness, dance, children's programming, adult programming. It all kind of have to find a balance here. So
I'm sorry, Jeff, I don't mean to interrupt. I'm going to just be leaving, but from what I'm hearing from my members, the members want simplicity. The moment they saw all the red tape from morning difference to afternoon, evening difference, and then the specialty classes, they said, no more, we're not dealing with this.
And then you'll sign
Well,
up for a specialty class, but there's not enough attendance, and then it gets canceled.
If I may,
Yes.
this is with 20 minutes on this now, and I understand your concerns, and we're concerned with it. We really want to keep harmony. We want to do the best we can for everybody at every level. But we've got an agenda here, and we got to get back to our agenda. We'll set up a meeting. How much time do you think you'll take to go through those things and be prepared? I mean, there's a long list there.
Well, but that's not the only thing.
Yeah,
well, I understand,
Yeah.
There's more in those letters that I just.
Well, that's
wrote
fine.
down.
Well, that's okay. So he needs some time to get together with his staff and figure out what the problems are and how to solve the problems and blah blah. To present
Right.
perfect meeting.
well, obviously tomorrow will be a day where everyone will sit down and discuss, try to find
Okay.
a date. Hopefully it will be that last week in February, so that we can, gives us enough time to get the word out,
Okay.
kind of develop an
All right.
agenda, that sort
So
of thing.
you'll post the meeting downstairs.
We'll post it downstairs. Yeah, it will. It'll be a special meeting, 48-hour notice as per Open Meeting Act. We'll send it out via Facebook, the
Email blast.
blast through the members. So
I don't want
yeah.
to detract from this issue. I know it's very
Yeah.
important, but we've got an
I
agenda here.
understand there's time constraints, I guess, on these meetings, but just in preparing for the meeting, please look at the other suburbs around and what they offer for what price. And also please look into our specialty classes, because like line dance wasn't a specialty class and now it is.
Yeah.
So it's really not using special equipment, so just for your own sake.
And that's one of the
That's
reasons
what
why I
you're
didn't
doing.
want
I'm
to,
just telling you. Right.
say something and I misspoke. But yes, as we go through the budget process, we do review market trends and make sure that we're positioned just right.
I got a question for you.
And I'm
How long-
sorry, you are,
Commissioner Steve Schmidt.
okay, hi.
Hi. How long have both of you guys been members for?
Well, I said in my letter 1997.
I just joined a year ago, so my membership is coming up in February.
I think since
And-
2000. Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
so, but I would like to still be a member, but there is no
Right.
way I'm paying these.
And I'm hearing
prices.
that, and I'm hearing the passion
Like 8
for
to
it.
9
My
years.
question is, you could go anywhere you want, right? You can go to LA Fitness, I've seen
Sure.
those facilities. What is it that, obviously something keeps you here, and you want to
That's a-
stay here?
That's a
That's a good
wonderful
question.
question.
So that's what I'm wondering. What are the things that, we're doing
Well-
right, and the things that, we obviously know we can improve on.
I'm gonna speak for myself. It's the instructors are great, and we've gotten, it's a small fitness center, and we've gotten to become friends. We all know each other, and that's hard to leave.
Okay.
That's my feelings, why I stayed. Plus, I've been here a Morton Grove resident my whole life. Why would I want to leave Morton Grove Park District?
Okay.
I also do to support the parks. I taught the park district years ago. I lived here for 32 years, and I've been a member, it's 8 or 9 years, to support our community.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Administration Finance Committee,
Did anybody else?
they will contact everybody via email and everything for the meeting. Okay?
Okay.
Again, thank you all for coming and bringing this to our attention.
Is there anybody else that needs to speak?
Is there any other comments?
Yeah,
I think you and I have had a long conversation downstairs about everything that they've addressed also, so I look forward to hearing some
Yeah.
answers.
Thank you for coming
Thank
out
you.
tonight.
I'll keep it brief. Shifting the topic from the fitness center, which is important, to the canine members of our village. Just wanted to, last month, the board was talking about the possibility of allowing dogs to walk in Morton Dog parks, and we also talked about the feasibility of the dog park. Just because of the way the finances are going, not only in this town, but also throughout the country, whether or not we have a dog park is anybody's guess, but I do hope we can get permission to have our dogs in parks, and I'm prepared for that. I'm very prepared to pick up any mess my dog makes. I promise to keep my dog and all my friends' dogs on leash, under control, picking up after them, picking up any other people's dogs' leavings, making sure she's licensed, and keeping her off playgrounds and away from kids. So thank you again for considering that, and that's all.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Hearing none. Administration, Finance, Budget, and Capital Plan Review.
Right, so,
Yeah.
so we've, last year, we had a budget capital review meeting on a Saturday morning. Thought it went out extremely well. To do that again this year would make it February 18th. And I just need to know if that fits in everybody's schedule. If the morning doesn't work, we could do the afternoon. We do need to do it that weekend. We could try to push it into the later weekend, but we're kind of putting Marty up against a time crunch and getting budgets done and stuff like that.
He
So
worked good under pressure, that guy.
he does.
What's the time frame on meeting?
We usually go. We started at 9. We weren't finished until I think it was like 12:30.
Okay.
But I'm hoping that we don't have to go line by line like we did the last time. So we're going to put a little bit more structure on it, a little more presentation from the recreation staff, like someone that goes over camps and preschools and aquatics. Marty goes over his section. Keith will go over his as well. So.
I have a quick question on budgets. Our fiscal year is
May 1.
May 1. What would be the advantages, disadvantages, and what would entail to turn it to January 1?
Marty and I have talked about that, and he just has to talk to the auditors and do his little, pull out his little calculator.
Well, the reason I say that, what comes to my mind is, if you go May 1st, outgoing board people vote on that budget, and new coming person would not be able to vote on that budget, but yet they'd serve the full year saddled with that budget. By moving it to January 1, the fiscal year, at least it would break that up. You understand what I'm saying?
And
Keith, you understand what I'm saying? Does it make sense? I mean, you're walking in and you're handed a budget that you're going to have to follow, and you had no input in it, and you're stuck with it for 12 months. If you go to January 1, you'd really only be stuck with it for 6 months.
right, and the other thing being the levy is done before the budget is done. So yeah, there's if that is a directive for us to do it
Could you
to
just put
starting.
something together, give us some more information on, what it
We
would
will.
entail for everybody?
Yep.
Thank you.
We will.
Transfer funds resolution. Oh, that's we're supposed to do.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
So, yeah, this is another little financial housekeeping. So, we need, back in 2014, the board transferred $200,000 from the corporate fund to the bond and interest fund. Since that time, 60,000 was, I'm sorry, 140 was transferred back to the corporate fund. but we still had $60,000 that the bond and interest fund has in it that should actually go back to the corporate fund. So this is just one of those little housekeeping maneuvers. Yeah, and Marty was very clear. He kind of showed how the dates, when it was, where it was transferred, how it was transferred, and it's just connecting those dots back.
I move that the Board of Commissioners approve the following transfer of funds.
We'll do it at the next one.
Yeah, we'll move that. We'll put that on the regular board meeting for the 15th. Okay. And then there is resolution R 0217, which we are allowed to transfer money from the Special Recreation Fund to the Capital Projects Fund. So when we did certain projects like through ALAMP, LNAR, so that's the sidewalks, that is the playgrounds that we did at Overhill and at Oriole, some of that money and some of those features in there are for accessibility. And because that is there, we can charge the Special Recreation Fund for those and then take that money and keep it back into our capital improvement plan. So Marty reviewed those projects, came up with $126,000, which is allowable for us to charge the Recreation Fund. And this is just taking that money from the Special Rec to the Capital Projects Fund. Any questions? Okay, so we'll move that to the the regular board meeting. Okay, so, sorry, Steve, I wanted to make sure the camera was able to get it. So, back in 2015, staff asked the board permission to do a dog feasibility study. And this is my report on that. So back in August 2015, they asked. It wasn't until September that we actually got the approval to do that. Really, it came down to the fact that we didn't have a quorum, or we had a quorum. We only had 4 board members. It was an even split, 2-2. So we had to carry it over until September. But we had support. We were able to go with that, the study. We did have a lot of public support, a little bit more than what we have right now. But we had a lot of people come in and say, we want you to look into doing this study. And from there, we got everybody that signed in. We sent out a little letter saying, thank you for attending, but we would really love your assistance helping us determine if this is feasible, and to serve on the Dog Park Advisory Committee. So we held our first meeting on October 14th. We came up with roles and responsibilities. So it's like, as a committee person, what is your role? What do we expect out of everybody that is attending? We talked about possible outcomes of what might come of the feasibility. We briefly talked about some of the struggles that we may encounter in there. I think I was very clear with the committee. I mean, we could go through this whole process and not have a dog park, but we would look at it and find the best thing for the community. So the first thing that we did as a committee is we gave out committee assignments, an assignment. And everybody took a local dog park, and they went around and they had a checklist of things that they thought that was really nice about it. We talked about the size, amenities, we looked at rules, we looked at the ground material, everything like that, and then the committee all sent that back, and we collected all that information. So at the second meeting, which was November 19th, we discussed those findings, and we were like, okay, what are the things that we saw at these other parks that we would want to bring to a park here in Morton Grove? So we came up with a list of things that we thought was extremely important. And then we discussed possible locations. I had kind of looked out into the community, and I looked at property that the Park District owned. I looked at ComEd property. I looked at some of the stuff that maybe the village would have, and we came up. I came up with Hart Park. Not Hart Park. Excuse me. This is Park. This is Prairie View. Sorry. So this area up here is a ball field, as you can see, and you can see that there's not really strong lines like you see down here. It's really not used. I talked to the athletic supervisor, and she said, yeah, we don't really use it, so we thought this would be a perfect place to do a park. I actually thought maybe this little area down in here, but it was just too small. This is the area that we kind of agreed that we would look into. So from there, we hired Altamanu, which is a landscape architect firm in Chicago. They did Central Park West in Glenview, and they designed 3 concepts for us. We were literally looking for a basic model and a ultimate model and something in between. And we asked for cost estimates, which would be a pretty good, gives an understanding of what everything was going to cost. So the first one is, this would be the basic model. And as you can see, hang on here. Just get this right here. So you can see that there's fencing around here. There's new sidewalks that kind of connect the 2 paths. Does kind of create a sort of a tunnel in between, from the prairie here, but they didn't think that was such a bad thing. We had mounds for dogs. There's some improved landscaping, a concrete paving pad for it. There's water, benches, that sort of thing. Now this one came in at $335,467. I should also state that all of these concepts are 1 acre and a quarter, 1 1.25 acres, which is on the low side of parks, but there are parks in Deerfield has a small park. There's 2 parks in Chicago that have even smaller parks. I think the one that Norwood was about the size of this room, right?
There's
but it was
a bunch
all
of smaller parks in that acre and a quarter in Chicago. I mean, you go into Bucktown with the park.
Yeah.
All of those are all much smaller than a quarter. Acre.
So everything that I was reading was like you need at least 1 acre. So but that was the good news. So this is the second concept, or the middle one. As you can see, they've got a little bit more landscaping on the outside. They put decomposed granite, which is sort of like a screening, instead of it kind of reduces the amount of turf, which was going to reduce the amount of maintenance in there, and then just more just landscaping kind of thing. So that one came in at $479,462. Next one is the ultimate, really just more landscaping, basically, and that's $539,805.
I don't see one fire hydrant in that whole thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go to some dog parks and they've got fire hydrants. They're nicely painted. It's just a little area, but yeah, that's as you can tell, one of the things that we wanted in the park, or at least the committee wanted in the park, was some kind of shade structure, and that just wasn't in there. So we presented this to the committee, and they were like, okay, I think they were a little sticker shock, and like, well, is there a possibility of doing something else? And I'm like, okay, well, let's take a look. So what they asked for us to do was, is there any possibility of doing this in-house? how much of this construction it would be possible for you to do in-house. And then was there a possibility that the village would provide some assistance? So talked to the park superintendent to kind of figure out what he was able to do, the past superintendent of parks, to see what he could do. And he kind of came up with some ideas. The village said that they would help with water main, any kind of drainage, that kind of stuff, manpower. And then while we were discussing this last year at the IPRA, IAPD annual conference, Mark met with some commissioners at the Niles Park District and said, hey, you know, we hear that you guys are looking into a dog park. Is there a possibility of doing an intergovernmental agreement with you guys where we would help offset the cost of that for use of the park? Okay, we talked about that as a committee. Because of the nature of because the park is so small, they felt that probably would be a little bit more than what the area can handle. There's a certain carrying capacity that all parks have, and that one probably couldn't support 2 communities. So they designed the concept. It's called Concept D. It's the very basic model. And this is what they gave us. So it's just really basically connecting the fencing. So there's a fence out there, and it's just connecting the fences. No water, no shade, no double door access. And this model came in at, sorry, I had that written down, about $98,000. Talking to the park superintendent at the time, he said that they could probably do a lot of this in-house. However, you know, we're talking about construction, all the stuff that we have to do in the summer months and the winter. You're probably not going to be able to do a whole lot of construction, so it would take a lot more time to be able to do it. He thought that we could put it in the neighborhood of about $25,000. However, looking at this, you know, I brought this back to the board and said, look, I need some guidance here as to, is this something that we should be considering? And everyone said, look, this is just too basic of a model for us, and we really couldn't support just doing that. So, all right. So we have the land, we have the cost estimates. So, is it financially feasible? Well, so every fund has a fund balance, and we have those fund balances for the highs and lows of when money comes in. So, you know, we always have sort of monies. It also helps with our with the auditors and our bond rating. We just don't have surpluses enough to sort of cover that. Cash on hand is the same thing. We don't have the cash to be able to do that. Even if you kind of combine those two, we don't have enough cash. Anything that we have in capital is already accounted for. Alternative funding. Can we do bonds and debt extension? Well, we can't use our debt extension because we're using that to pay off bonds for Oriole Pool. Those are tied up. Those are starting in 2018. That will account for almost 70% of what we're able to do for our debt extension. That means we're not going to be able to do playgrounds. We got to check our equipment. Supplies, that, you know, big picture items, we just don't have the debt extension to do it. Bonds, the only other bond that I think of is just got us in the mess with the Oriole Pool, and we're not going to be able to do that. So, what about membership fees? Can we use just membership fees? No, I mean, you could, but you still have to have.
$1,000 membership fee.
You know,
Too unreliable.
yeah, well, it's exactly that, because, you know, it's not a steady stream, it's not a steady commitment. People come and people go, so you can't rely on that. That's going to put more pressure on us in other areas. Not only that, but you have to have the bonds, or you have to have something to pay for it first to use the money, because it's the cart before the horse. So, okay, what about referendum? We could go out to referendum. However, two things. One, we have Harpool, 54 years old. We're limping it along. Yeah, 54.
60.
Huh? 60. Okay. Even worse. If we've got to do something with that, and the only way that we're going to be able to either replace or to renovate is through a referendum. We don't have bonding authority. We don't have debt extension to do this. Anything with HAR. I don't want to say it's on life support, but it's just that if we had one chance to pass a referendum, would it be for the dog park or would it be for Harpool? I think the priority we have to figure out what we're going to do with Harpool before we do any other things. Additionally, back in 2013, we did the comprehensive community interest survey, which only of respondents, only 17% said that we should have a dog park. Of those respondents, 70 said that they would not support property tax increase for a dog park. So, small amount of interest for a dog park, big interest in not supporting it financially through taxes. So, put it out for referendum, but most likely it'll fail. So, we've identified the location, the amenities that we wanted. We lack the funding mechanism, and really we lack community-wide support for it. So I would say that we have all this research. We have all the information. It's on one of the secure areas of the computer. So it's not like it's just all hard paper that's going to be lost, like we did with the apparently we had done this study several years ago, and just we can't find any of the information. It's secure, it's backed up, we have that information. So if at a time where we have the ability to issue debt extension, if we find that there's a bigger need, we could always go back to it and say, okay, now there's an opportunity for us to do the dog park. The other thing that we can do is open up the parks to allowing dogs to have access. So those are the two options. Now, so this isn't part of the study, but the next thing on the agenda would be allowing dogs access to parks. Thank you. So, sorry, I mean just. I have talked to Perderma. That's the Park District Risk Management Agency. We're basically we self-pool with other Park District Forest Reserves and Special Recreation Associations for our insurance, our liability insurance and stuff. They said, you know what? I think the concern at one point was if someone is bitten by a dog, that the Park District would be liable for that in some capacity, and I've been assured that that's not the case. That the liability is on the owner of the dog, not the not on our. If it's on our property, it's not. We're not liable. So, I think it's a good alternative to allow the dogs in the park, but I think there needs to be fences on what we're going to allow. So, dogs on leash, no longer than 8 feet long, has to be under control of the owner at all times. You can't just throw a ball, let the dog run with the leash on it, pick up the ball and come back. It's got to be under control of the owner. Owners must pick up and dispose of any waste produced by the dog. We have to have a pet license. You gotta have the pet license. This allows us to track if somebody is bitten by a dog, or we have repeat offenders on these rules. We can at least be able to track them. They're not allowed on ball fields, sport courts, shelters, or within playgrounds. The dog must be removed from the park if it becomes aggressive towards people, other dogs, and/or wildlife of any kind. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to be able to do this. Just to let you know, I did talk to Chief Stromberg, and he thinks this is a great idea. It's going to make it a lot easier on them to be able to monitor the parks. I think Janice has been pretty passionate and vocal about there's a lot of need for people to be with their dogs in the park. I mean, it's not just walking the dog; it's a social experience for everyone. So that's what I'm suggesting.
Just the whole thing here?
The whole kit and caboodle? Yeah.
What's the fine?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's actually in the the ordinance. First offense is $100. Second offense is $200. Third offense is $500.
Well, what's an offense in that?
Well, if you're in the park with the dog that's not on leash, any violation.
What
of
about
the,
if you don't pick up after your dog? I think those people are creepy, so let's find them heavily. I mean, if you can't bother, if you can bother an owner dog and not pick up after it, I don't care. Make it a $500 fine. Let somebody,
Yeah, I talked to our attorney, and he says you can't just say $500 right away because they go to administrative hearings and they say, oh yeah, that's kind of excessive. I'm sorry, it's $50 for the first, $100 for the second, and $500 for the every occasion incidents after that.
Who administers that? How do we get the $500 to $50? I mean, right now, doesn't the village collect all of our fines, parking fines and citations?
I'm sure if they were issued, yes.
So if we issue a $50 or $100 fine, we don't get the money, it still goes to the village.
I'm going to have to double check, but yeah, I mean, this isn't I understand what you're saying, but it's really, it's not it's for us to be able to say, okay, the fine's just the fine. It's being able to track, okay, at some point you just have to say, we could put that in there after 6 offenses or whatever you want, violations.
Well, I'm just thinking down the road here.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jones has his dog,
Mm-hmm.
walking his dog. Whatever case, somebody says that dog was in the park, blah, blah, there's an altercation. He's coming here. He's coming to the park board. He's not going to the village with it. He's coming over here with it. Okay? But he paid his fine to the village. Okay? We're dealing with it, but yet we don't see anything out of the altercation.
Yeah, I can check with the village.
I mean,
to see
just
if there's
asking the
another
question. I
option.
mean,
wouldn't there be some sort of mechanism where the village collects those funds? Maybe they take a portion of it for the work that's involved, and then, I mean, obviously there could be. It's just a matter of the legality. So
what I'm
yes,
getting
I
at is,
understand.
I just like everything spelled out, talked about before it's voted on.
Totally understand that.
After the fact, it's piecemeal, and there's 1,000 questions. It's very hard to rewrite it after it was written.
Completely agree. I didn't know you were voting on it.
Right.
No, we're not voting on it tonight, but they
So-
have to assemble it for us to vote on it in
Okay.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, my concern, and I still want the mechanism there that it's here that if some dog is a consistent problem, the dog is never allowed in the park.
The dog.
And I have a question. When we say that we're going to allow them to be in there, but they have to be licensed either by the village or another municipality, do they have? I think they should have the license with them and on the animal, on the dog, not just say, oh yeah, I have it, but have it at home.
Well,
Okay,
isn't the license supposed to be attached to the collar?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Well, technically it's supposed to, but then there are people that don't do that.
Well, then they don't have, it's just like if you get stopped driving a car, if you can't produce your driver's license, you don't have your license.
Right.
You don't, if you don't if you don't have the dog license, you don't have a license, it's a $50 fine.
But I think what George is saying is that that should be spelled out in our
Yeah.
Right.
regulations.
Just residents know that we expect the dog to have the license either with them or on the collar when they're driving in the park.
I agree.
Sign,
Yeah.
It's a sign when you walk into the park.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I think to just,
Makes
yeah,
sense.
making sure that the tag, right, everybody gets a village tag.
No,
tag.
I'm saying, but a sign could be in front, you know, hey, here you go, you want to bring your dog in the park, these are the rules.
Yeah,
And here you go.
so there, yeah, there's that we'll have an additional expense of, one, making sure that all entrances of the parks have the signage about what the rules are. We're gonna have to sandblast, the not welcome things off the,
I was just on the topic of, must have the tag. I would submit that a number of dogs or owners would have different collars for their dogs, and there's only one tag. And you need a tool to shift it from one collar to the next. So as with the driver's license, if you get pulled over without your driver's license, if you're able to produce it, then you're okay. So,
Yeah.
you can go home and say, look, officer, here's my papers, you should be okay.
right. I mean, I can talk to Chief Stromberg.
I haven't
It's
been
just
a
more of a
process for very long,
process, so-
But to me, you put it on a
And,
card that you can.
and my other comment is
versus
just, it's just a
wasting
comment, I know there's not much we can do about it. I
For
just,
them to deal
you know,
with it, then you have to go and
people
produce
will
it,
not,
and then.
pick up after their dog.
That's just my
And I mean,
opinion. I
you
haven't
can't
been
police
on the
everybody all the time, you're not gonna be around every dog.
So I just
And,
know-
I mean, I know, and I think it should be in there,
In Chicago,
fine,
that
somebody
doesn't
should happen to be there and catch it, but
You gotta-
that's my
that's what you
concern
got,
about
so.
opening up the parks, but at the same time, that's not
I
a
have
deal breaker for me.
collars for
Okay.
the dog, but I
Yeah.
move my tags around.
Yeah. So Georgie just commented that people not picking up after their dog is a concern for her, but not to the point where she would support it. Is that a fair?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. Any questions?
Can you find out about those doggy waste bag dispensers? We've seen those.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I say that is because that's an opportunity for somebody to sponsor it and pay for it.
Uh-huh.
I mean, if CVS Pharmacy wants to buy one,
We can. I mean, yeah. Well, it's got to be at both, at all entrances.
Well,
I
but-
understand what you're saying. I think that, hey, we tell you to pick up after your dog, but we don't give you something to do it with. So, yeah.
Yeah, but we tell people to pick up their trash in the park.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, but they could
I-
then put it in the garbage can. Now we're saying, you're just not going to pick it up with your hand.
well, those dispensers that I'm thinking about, you and I looked at them, they're
Yeah.
not that expensive. So that if somebody, even Menards, they sell pet products, they want to sponsor it, they put their name on it, which is
Yeah,
anything to keep the parks clean.
right.
Pet Supplies Plus.
Pardon?
Pet Supplies Plus.
Yeah, no, I think there's
Are you
a lot of
advertising?
places that we can.
No. But they might be interested in doing it. They're a Morton Grove business.
Like,
And they sell these guys.
right.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Who would issue the fines, or how would the fines be?
Well, the park police would issue the ticket. Morton Grove police are not able to write tickets on park district property, so only the park police are. But they have a special ability to issue tickets on village property. I don't know how that works, but that's how it was explained to me by the chief. So they would write those tickets, or I should say not only just park police, but park district personnel, probably would be a better way of saying it. And then those tickets get sent over to the branch. Yeah. Anyone else?
I was just curious, I was looking at those costs. those look like some really fancy dog parks. If that was the route, those, compared to what I've seen in the city and some of the things I've seen set up, my mind was just blown by that $330,000 cheap price tag.
Yeah.
I understand, so that's completely off the table. So I guess people said at Plain Park, that's not an option to them. That's just too plain for some fancy park people, like some dog park people. So have they been given the option of nothing or a fenced-in lot versus just?
Yeah,
people walk
well,
their
yeah,
dogs
we
in
talked to
park?
the committee about just
Okay.
that.
And
Yeah,
again,
they
I
were
came
like,
in late on all this, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
should
mean,
probably talk to you about it more, so.
without the double gates, you can't control access, so
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
can kind of come in. We're talking about a turf area, so maintenance would be I think it would be a nightmare, especially when you're talking about just the infield. You got dogs in there. You couldn't put water in there because you're not sure about the drainage. Although it's a ball field, you'd have to look into that as well. And some of that cost didn't even cover civil engineering to make sure that everything's level. And sorry, I gotta.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm just, all right, I don't know enough, I'll have to talk to you.
I have a question.
Yeah.
That figure of 25,000, who came up with that number?
The previous Parks Group did it.
Is that a prevailing wage?
Yeah, well, it's based on Park District.
That was in-house.
It's in-house, yeah. So,
Alrighty then. Email policy, huh?
yeah, so, lot of stuff in the world these days about professional use, public use of, doing public business on private emails. So we have a policy about being issued Park District emails and an email account. Well, but although staff is very aware that they are supposed to use that email to conduct business, it doesn't really specifically state that they have to. So what we want to do is make sure that it's very clear in the policy manual, the employee personnel manual, that says that all Park District related business and or professional communications conducted via email must be done through the employee's Park District assigned email account. Additionally, as public officials, elected officials, you have that same requirement well, not a requirement, but it's just the right thing to do is use your email, your issued Park District email for business related. Now, I send stuff to commissioners. I send it to both. Sometimes I forget. I put it out to one. So this means that if you've given us your personal email, that we will no longer be using that. We will be using your Park District email account. But you guys have the same requirement to use it as we do.
Right.
Okay?
If you mix it, your personal email is foilable, along with all of your other stuff. So this solves a problem before it becomes a bigger problem.
So you know how you can do separate emails, like on your personal phone? You can have different services.
Yeah.
I mean, could you be able to get that information to us? Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Or we can just talk to the little IT whiz right here. She knows how to do that. No, we can do that. Absolutely.
Okay.
So we'll send that to the 15th.
Move that forward.
All right. Next item. Attendance policy?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was waiting for Dan to announce it.
Well, I was waiting for Keith to announce it. It's Keith's meeting. I get carried away sometimes.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Why not?
Okay, so All right, so, interesting, so we have a section within the Park Board Commissioners General Practice Manual that states meeting attendance. And it really just says that you're supposed to attend any meeting scheduled, previously scheduled, or a special meeting. So what I think it was sort of lacking, and what we've done is we want to add to that section of the practice manual that says commissioners are expected to attend all regular and special meetings scheduled by the board. If a commissioner is unable to attend a meeting, they should make every effort to inform the board president by email or telephone no less than 24 hours before the scheduled meeting. If the commissioner has advance notice that they will be unable to attend a meeting in person, they should make every reasonable effort to attend via electronic means, FaceTime, Skype, or teleconference. If the commissioner anticipates an extended absence, the commissioner should keep the board president informed as to his or her status. So, piece of paper.
I agree.
This is just, it's just to be able to say, hey, we're setting an expectation, and this is that expectation. I do need to say that Jim Rock looked at the write-up, and he does make a recommendation that the third sentence should say, if a commissioner has advance notice and is unable to attend in person, and the reason for their inability to attend the meeting is one of the reasons stated in the Opens Meeting Act as cause for electronic participation. So there's certain things Opens Meetings Act says, you can't make it because you're on vacation. It's not a reason to attend electronically. So he just wanted to make sure that that was in there so that there's no questions.
Can you have this read, you said that you notify the board president.
Mm-hmm.
Can you have it read the board president and or board secretary?
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, anything else, Keith?
I have nothing else.
Recreation facilities.
I have brochure bids.
Brochure bids.
Right.
Georgie's got brochure bids. How much are the bids, Georgie?
Yeah, so...
I'll let Jeff speak to that.
Yeah, thanks. We go out to bid for our brochure printing. It's a big line item, as you can tell based on these numbers. So this is a 3-season year. So we have winter, spring, summer, fall printing. We sent out a bid notice. We sent it out to past vendors, any vendor that we knew that did printing. We got 6. Is that right? I can't remember. We got some back. There's a process that we have to follow. It has to be published in the newspaper 10 days before the opening. It has to be a sealed bid. All that fun stuff. So we are recommending going with Creekside Printing. As you can see, their cost for brochure is just slightly $41 higher than Hag Press Incorporated. But when you add the cost of the inserts, then they come in lower. So the overall lowest bid is $19,946. So we would recommend that the board approve that on the 15th meeting, Creekside Printing.
Are these the only 3 you went to?
No, those are the only 3 we received.
You sent out 6.
I think. Yeah. We send it out. It's published. A lot of people see that. So.
All righty then.
Just out of curiosity, what was it last year? Like, did you keep a historical record of how much more is going out this time, or is the bid always the same? Like, was it 18,000 last year, or was it 22,000 last year?
I'm Marty. Do you know?
I can look it up.
Yeah, I think it's about the same, if not slightly
Okay,
lower.
I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm just wondering where that trend's going.
yeah,
Postage went up.
Because I'm starting to pay attention, so.
yeah. No, that's a very good question, and I think that's something, in the future we probably will put in the write-up, the memos to say this is what we have previously spent. Yeah, so you can have a comparison. Yeah.
Parks Facility Maintenance Committee.
Okay.
Welcome, Keith.
Yeah, I told Keith that there was a big audience for his unveiling, so he was a little bit nervous, but Keith's here. So I just want to, can't tell you how excited we are to have Keith here as our new park superintendent. Keith? You want to say a few things? Say who you are, where you come from?
Sure, a little background.
You were a tree?
It's okay. First of all, I just want to thank Jeff for allowing me the opportunity to be here. I've got a degree in horticulture from Illinois State. When I finished school, I went to work for a landscape contractor. When I started out with him, he had about 30 people working for him. I worked there for about 10 years, and towards the end, you've just seen massive growth, and he turned into more of a general contractor. So we had about 300 employees when I left, and we went from doing landscape work to being like an on-site contractor, doing excavation, doing retention ponds, doing site work like storm sewers and sidewalks, parking lots, and a whole bunch of outside on-site work. Left there because I enjoyed what I did, but the hours were kind of crazy. You work 60 to 70 hours during the season. And then we did snow, so you work a lot of hours in the snow. I sold construction equipment for a couple years after that, and I really didn't like that. And that's when I got involved in parks. So for the past 18 and a half years, I've been a park superintendent. 10 years at Carroll Stream Park District, 3 years over at home at Flossmoor, and the last 5.5 at Streamwood. Throughout my 18 and a half years in parks, I've probably been involved with about $25 million in capital improvement projects. And because of my background with the general contractor, we were able to do a lot of project management in-house with all those projects. Everything from building neighborhood playgrounds to miles of bike paths to a water park to 22-acre soccer complex and a 32-acre baseball complex and a 42-acre football soccer complex, and everything else in between. I've got a real passion for athletic fields. I've been involved with the Sports Turf Managers Association on the state and national level. I've spoken at the state conference on athletic fields for in 3 sessions that I gave. I've done seminars at the previous districts I worked at, where we invited other park districts in to teach them about things like ball field renovations and athletic turf maintenance. Put maintenance programs together for what we call aggressive turf maintenance for athletic fields, and I'm really looking forward to the challenges that lie ahead here, and I'm very happy to be here. Great. Welcome aboard. Welcome. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay.
So I remember to say it every day. Yeah, right underneath, just printing out all the agendas. Okay, wait, anything else that we need to do?
Mark?
No, but we do need to go into executive session just for a couple minutes.
Really?
Will you read it?
Oh, yeah. I make a motion for the board to go into closed session in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Section 120/2, C1, and for Section 120-2, C11.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, no, that was going to be a roll
Oh,
call.
that's gotta be real quick.
Just out of curiosity, why do you do closed sessions like that? Is that so you can speak?
Hang on just 1 second.
Commissioner Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Commissioner Stafford?
Aye.
Commissioner Vano?
Aye.
Commissioner Bruner?
It's the law. If you want to talk about real estate, you want to talk about personnel, you want to talk about legal action, but you cannot vote.
Certain subjects.
Yeah, and you cannot take any action
Got it.
in there, you can only discuss it.
Got it.
Patrick? You got a dog park in your backyard. I watched him put that fence around the whole perimeter of those 5 acres you got.